Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and it's finally happened. We've had the first national final of 2018. Okay, it's the second of the 2018 season, because of course Albania had theirs, but that was in December. This is the first one of 2018, the year, as opposed to the season. I don't know why I'm going into such great detail about this. The bottom line is, France, after a fairly, not super in-depth, but still well-composed national final system, which I'll go into more detail about how I feel about that in due course, they have chosen the song Mercy by Madame Monsieur, which was written and composed by Emily Satt and Jean-Karl Lucas, who together, unsurprisingly, form Madame Monsieur. So much like Albania, we have almost a personal passion project kind of song that was written by the people who are performing it, so no one else was involved, just the performers. So I like the way this year is going already. It says a lot about the current zeitgeist, but before I go off the deep end going on about that, let's go into my first impressions, or rather, before I start on my first impressions, Eurovision fandom, you and I need to have just a little bit of a talk first. I am very impressed with the progress that you've been making in recent years in terms of which songs get your collective motors running, but I do need you to make me a tiny little promise before I even begin to divulge anything even remotely opinion-based about this song. You have to promise me, no matter how much you like this song or any other song, or how much you dislike this song or any other song for that matter, please don't lose your mind if I say something that you don't agree with. If I say something negative about a song that you love, or I say something positive about a song that you hate, please try to keep it together. After all, my reviews are always intended to be fair, even, and balanced as a show of good faith to every competing song, every competing artist, every competing country. Everyone gets good points and bad points, positives and negatives, things that I like, things that could be improved. So let me say my piece in its entirety before you start plotting some sort of sweet nothing to write in the comments designed to tear down my physical appearance because you don't like my thoughts. After all, if everyone had the same opinion, we wouldn't have different flavours of ice cream, right? I'm borrowing that quote from someone else and I don't remember how it was originally worded, but you get the idea. That being said, my honest first impression of this song is, this was the fan favourite? Alright. I was surprised. Not positively, not negatively, I was just sort of neutral surprised. I wasn't expecting this one to be the fan favourite considering the lineup of the finalists in the French national final. And that isn't intended to be a criticism, not of this song, not of any of the others. I'm just surprised. I sort of didn't see it coming that this would be far and away the fan favourite from a lineup of very diverse national finalists. And I do think it's nice. I think it's a huge change of pace compared to most Eurovision songs, especially from France. But more than anything, I'm just surprised that people took to it so quickly. I suspect that, much like with Amar pe los dois, people magnetised towards this song because of its lyrics and its message, which is completely fine. That's a good thing to do. I don't have any problems with that. In fact, it's a good thing. So let's go into more minute details here and see what you might like about this song. Now, I'm sure some of you who know me too well are expecting me to start ripping this song a new one because, oh, it's popular, therefore it must be awful. I don't think like that. Give me a chance. Give me a fair shot. So, what you might like, well, I won't deny, the song does have a lot going for it. For one, there's the lyrics, like I already said. In this case, it's a relatively simple song. The refrain translates as, I was born this morning, my name is Mercy. In the sea between two countries, Mercy, and it sort of goes on like that. And the song overall has been described as telling the touching story of a young immigrant girl. So, from that description and the way the lyrics tell that story, I can see why it's already caught a fair bit of attention. It's a hot topic at the moment, after all. It's something that needs this spotlight shining on it. There's also the overall atmosphere of the song, the texture, the ambience, or ambiance because it's France. Bearing in mind that the subject matter is comparatively serious and very topical, the song should have an air of dignity as it delivers its story, and it does, and in spades. The overall mood is infectiously dreamlike, and it fits perfectly. Building on that, the staging at Destination Eurovision, if I'm even saying that right, I'm part French, I should be saying that right. Anyway, it had a consistent theme of the sea and soft, evening-like colours. Or possibly early morning. I could never tell the difference. The point is, orange sky and sort of that kind of overall feeling. You know, the overall feeling that I put forward in these reviews because I can't afford proper lighting at the moment. I have a Patreon, by the way, support me if you like. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. If they keep that mood for the Eurovision stage in Lisbon, I think it will match the song's style and make it even more compelling as a performance, which is good. Even if you don't connect with the lyrics on a personal level, the musical tone fits the colour scheme and general presentation in such a way that it doesn't add to the atmosphere, it multiplies it, which is a very powerful thing to do with a song like this, especially given that it's already popular. So overall, it's a very neat, very different, very mature package, and don't take it the wrong way when I say that I'm pleasantly surprised that the fandom has taken so readily to such an adult song. It really says a lot, because this is the same fandom that, for instance, used to be crazy over hypnotic dance numbers with flashing lights, and now, for the past couple of years, it's been more about mature songs with more sincere themes. I appreciate that the fandom has sort of grown up a little like that. Now don't get me wrong, that isn't me saying that there is no place for fast food music at Eurovision, but again, I'll get on to what I think about that in due course. For now, what might you not like about this song? Because you don't have to like this song, there are things that you might not enjoy about it, and that's fair enough. As I've said, my biggest concern with this song is that there's going to be a small but vocal pocket of the fandom that might not allow people to have different opinions about this song. We get one of those every year or thereabouts, you know, Portugal last year, Australia in 2016, there are some songs that you're just not allowed to think something other than positive thoughts about, which is ridiculous. Please, if you're going to fall in love with a mature song, please have that same level of maturity when it comes to addressing other people's opinions. Yes, the song has an important message that shouldn't be overlooked and needs this sort of attention being drawn to it. But one of the most cited models in media theory is Blumler and Katz's uses and gratifications theory. For those who aren't familiar, I'm not going to turn this into a massive lecture, but it's basically the assertion that people consume media for different and for personal reasons. Simply put, in this case, not everyone will be interested in the cause that this song represents, and that's fine. Not everyone has to be an activist. It doesn't make them racist or xenophobic or whatever. Just live and let live. Having a strong message does not and should not make you immune to critique. Separately from that, and thinking much more happy thoughts, let's talk about the overall instrumentation and atmosphere of the song again. While it is a highly comprehensive package, and while it is overall a really nice feeling, it is the sort of thing that natively doesn't necessarily appeal to everyone. Some people will like the relaxed 4 AM kind of atmosphere, but for some, it might not grip them with the same kind of intensity. Some people might find it to be too stripped back and too, not unengaging, but it just doesn't do the right things for them, and that's fair enough. It's the sort of style that not everyone will like, just by virtue of how it's been written. And on a much more personal level, honestly, I can't say I especially like the ending, to be brutally honest. I know that's very much a me thing, but I appreciate the pun, where they rhyme mercy with the French word merci, meaning thank you if you're not familiar with that. But I just don't like the repeated repetition of the title, where they just go merci, 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 je vais bien, merci. See, it works, but after not very long at all, they sort of make mercy stop sounding like a word, and with a word that has as much gravity to it as mercy, that's sort of not a great thing to have happen. Or, on a much less pretentious level, it just gets annoying that the only word they're singing for about a minute is mercy. I mean, that's not literally the only word they're singing, but that's what it starts to feel like, but that is just me. Tastes may vary. Now, honestly, I can't say I'm especially looking forward to giving my personal score out of 10 to this one, so I'll start with a technical score instead. In terms of composition, lyrics, timbre, etc., atmosphere, everything, I would say this one definitely earns a 9. I will own that quite happily. The only things that are keeping me from awarding it a perfect score are the mercy, 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 mercy bit at the end, which I know that's a really personal thing, but the fact that it has that capacity to potentially either annoy or make the lyrics feel like they don't mean as much as they did at the start of the song, that's something that makes me stay my hand, even if they do pull it back a bit with je vais bien merci, which, okay, they've sort of made kind of a pun out of it, okay, that's fair enough. It's wordplay is what it is, and I appreciate that. And then there's also the divisive atmosphere of the song. I'm not saying that with regards to the lyrics, mind you, I just mean that it's got that late night, early morning kind of feeling that is very well done, but by its very nature, it doesn't have the fullest appeal that it necessarily could have, but they do make it work, so I think that justifies a 9. It's close to a 10, but it's not all the way there, in my experience. Feel free to disagree. Okay, I know this is going to make me some enemies, but I implore you to please just hear me out, okay, before you get angry. My own personal, subjective, how my heart feels about this song score is 6, but before you get all self-righteous and angry to defend the song, at least listen to my reasoning. I appreciate the story the lyrics tell, and I agree, this is something that doesn't get anywhere near the amount of attention it needs to. People being abandoned of any kind, really, is a bad thing, but what this song addresses needs to be addressed. I recognise that and appreciate that, and I agree. I have no problems with the song discussing those themes. However, by that same token, I do refuse on a personal level to be emotionally blackmailed into loving the song and giving it a perfect score just because of its subject matter. The reason I give it a 6 is not because I must be some kind of monstrous xenophobic hater or whatever. The reason I give it a 6 is simply, it's not the sort of song that I would personally choose to listen to. That's all. I appreciate what it does, and I think that on a technical level it's brilliant, and I'm impressed with the whole delivery, but it's just not my sort of thing, personally. That's all. That's what my personal score is meant to reflect. I don't feel the song personally, but I see why other people do. That's all. Okay? Okay. And to try and prove that I'm thinking about this with something resembling a clear head, and not just to deliberately annoy a specific pocket of the fandom, because that really isn't my intention. I'm just having my own opinion. If you don't like that, then you're kind of the problem. Let's think about whether France is moving in the right direction with this entry, because this is what I do now instead of saying, oh, compared to last year, because that's too difficult to do, and this is just a more positive outlook. So I would say, yeah, this is definitely a step in the right direction for France. Edoardo Grassi, the head of delegation, has really come into his own since he was appointed in 2016, and the fact that France has moved from 2 successive strong entries in a row, Cherché and Requiem, into a national final full of strong entries that are beloved by the fandom, that's absolutely a positive step for them. They have this entire swimming pool full of things that the fandom might love, and that's great, especially considering the foundation they had to build on from the years before Cherché, where France wasn't taken quite as seriously. All of the national finalists showed pride in their presentation, their native language, everything, and it's admirable, and the one that ended up being chosen has such massive support behind it, so it's evident that what they're doing is the right thing. Good on you, France. And finally, not will it qualify, but would it qualify if it had to, because of course France doesn't need to, being a member of the Big Five, and I explain this in every review just in case it's someone's first time watching me, and if that person is you, then hello, and welcome to the channel. But if it did have to qualify, well, I find this to be a surprisingly similar example to Albania, in that if they'd sent this song a few years ago, like in the years of, you know, Mons or Loreen, between 2012 and 2015 or thereabouts, I would say that it wouldn't have great odds of being that well received or of qualifying if it had to, but now, in 2018, and especially in the wake of Salvador's win last year, I'd say it would, and quite easily, especially given the hype behind it at the moment. That said, when it comes to the final result in the final, I could see this being 2018's version of Occidentali's Karma, beloved and hyped by the fans, and for good reason, but then not quite placing as highly as people expect, prompting outrage from some areas of the fandom. Really though, anything's possible with this entry, I'll happily admit that, and I'll be very interested to see where this finishes in May. I've got my eye on you, France. You could do some really interesting stuff with this. So, you know, don't let us down, and I don't think you will let us down. For now though, I have been and will continue to be Tessellating Hexagons, and France, we will see you in Lisbon. I wish you the very best of luck.